Hey there. Like a lot of people, I use YouTube for investigative work in terms of products. I look at reviews and I do a lot of things on YouTube. So I thought I might share a video of some questions that people have about different cameras. So a disclaimer to start with, I'm not a professional. I'm just a guy that has a lot of hobbies, lots of things I like to do. And so I try to share those things using cameras and videos and stuff. So I'm not a professional, just a person that likes to have fun and tries to figure out how can I share that fun. So if you're a professional photographer, I'm sure you're probably going to have questions about my lighting or suggestions that I need to do. I understand. Whenever I put a video together, I just tell people that assume that you're a parent and your kid has asked you to purchase something and you're the parent that's got to do some quick research and try to make some determinations. That's kind of like what this video is about, the angle that I'm doing this video from. That being said, I'm also going to use some notes because I remember enough stuff during my professional life in the daytime, so remembering this isn't going to be helpful to me. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about two cameras. The Sony ZV-1 point and shoot, which is designed as a vlogging camera, and the GoPro Max 360, which is an action camera. So obviously I own both, and I did a lot of reading on both and a lot of videos, and so I've seen different people that are trying to determine which of these works best for blogs and what is the versatility of both. So I thought I would start with 10 things that you could look at it. Again, if you're a person or if you're a parent or you're someone who says, I just want a camera to do certain things, or I've got certain use cases. So number one, speaking of use cases, you have to ask yourself, what is your use case? What are you really going to use the camera for? And the reason you want to ask yourself that question is because these cameras aren't cheap. So you want to know what you're actually going to do it for. You see me with a trusty motocross helmet here. I also ride bicycles, I ride skateboards, snowboards. I do a lot of action things. So I've got some of the accessories here that I'm going to talk about, but for an action-oriented person, GoPro is an action camera. It has a lot of different features, but it's rubberized. It's got lens protectors. It's got a lot of features that are designed for it being rugged and in action-packed situations. The Sony ZV-1 is advertised as a point-and-shoot vlogging camera, but what I found is it's somewhere between the standard point-and-shoot and a video camcorder. So it has a lot of nice features, but it has a use case that Sony is marketing it as a vlogging camera. So just understand what your use case is so that you can determine which cameras are right for you, whether it's these two or not. Number two, the pricing. That's a question that everyone asks, and what's in the box. So the Sony ZV-1 lists for about $750 retail. And in the box, I bought the bundle at Best Buy. So I got the camera, I got a battery, and I got this Sony. I forgot the name of what they call it, but it's a Bluetooth control, like a handle that you could do. It has zooming, and you could start recording and stuff. So it's very easy to do with that. And then I also bought a spare battery. All of that set me back $930 for the Sony ZV-1. I bought the GoPro Max 360, and I got the camera, and it comes with a battery. I bought a 512 terabyte storage cards in both, and then I bought a backup battery and a backup charger, so I can charge two batteries at one time. But out of the box, the camera, one battery, the little lens protectors, a bag, and a cord to plug it in the wall, and I bought it retail at Best Buy, and after taxes here in West LA, it was $550. You may be able to find these online someplace cheaper, but I like to buy things retail a lot of times because if something goes wrong, I can just go right back to Best Buy in West LA and I can find the guy that sold it to me, and either I'm going to get another camera, I'm going to get some immediate tax, I'm going to get something out of it, as opposed to sending it back online and I got nothing but hope and faith that they do right by me. So that's pricing. Number 3, video resolution. And what I found with the GoPro, when it's in hero mode, meaning straight first person view, what the camera sees what you're pointing at. When I have this at 4K or 5.6K, it is incredibly sharp, a lot more so than any GoPro camera that I've used in the past, and I've had a few, and I've had some variations of it. But the resolution from this camera in hero mode is great. When you put it in 360 mode, and as you see, it has a front lens and it has a rear lens, and what that does in 360 mode is that it will film 360 degrees. So I'm in a room right now. So what it would do is it would film from the ceiling to the floor and 360 degrees around me. In 360 degree mode, the filming is still, the resolution is still really good, but keep in mind, when you're looking at 360 videos, things are moving a lot. So sometimes you'll see some stitching or some little jiggles in it. But overall, in hero mode, first person view, it's great. And in 360 mode, what you'll see, as I said, you'll see some of the jiggles, but it is still way light years above what you may think. The Sony ZV-1, it obviously doesn't have 360 mode because it's a point and shoot, vlogging camera. But I've used it at 4K. I've used it at 4K, and I've tried other resolutions, and it works, and it's just clear. If you look at my most recent videos from La Brea Tar Pits and some others, and the Griffith Observatory that I filmed with this, incredibly smooth at 4K. I tried it at 4K. You can even shoot in RAW format, and you can also change the resolution on the actual video side. So I haven't really played with every feature in terms of resolution, but resolution wise, in standard 4K, I would say they're very close to being even. Something to consider is when you look at YouTube or social media, realistically, me filming in 4K or 5.6K in either of these cameras and then uploading it to YouTube isn't really going to give you all of that resolution anyway. It's going to scale it down anyway, so it's still going to be good quality, but you're not going to get the usage of you're not going to get the benefit of those resolutions. So both cameras have good resolution. From the size, number 4, as obviously as the GoPro is going to be smaller. If I put them next to each other, you can see what they look like, because the GoPro is an action camera. It is designed to be small. It has to be smaller. So I've got my trusty motocross helmet here, and sometimes I will put this GoPro 360 on this mount that we call it the drone mount, because when you put it atop the helmet and you turn it on and you start filming, it gives you like a drone type view. But this camera is designed to be bounced around and jostled, as you can imagine, riding a dirt bike across trails and jumping and turning into corners and hitting whoops and stuff. This camera is gonna shake back and forth like that, and it's going to do a lot of things. So you can't really have a bulky camera. You can use, and I'll go into it later on the accessories. You could put this camera on your helmet, but if you're doing something that requires a lot of violence and a lot of moving around, you may not want to do that. The other thing is, if this camera here, if this GoPro falls and hits the ground, I just pick it up and go. If this one falls and hits the ground, then I'm going to be looking for my receipts. So from a size perspective, that's something to consider. This one is not really designed to do action type photography, and it's bigger and unwieldy, and that goes into some of the other pieces. From a vibration perspective, and that is number 6. From a vibration perspective, what I found in using the Sony ZV-1 is when I turn it on and I move it around like this, I have no problems with it. It's actually pretty stable. It has some stability circuitry in it that allows you to do that. And then I typically I will mount it on this Bluetooth mount that I got, and I will carry it around, and it's got a zoom and start recording stuff, so that makes it even more stable. Now, if you want to get it more stable than that to reduce the vibration, then you could get get a gimbal. Mine is a Zion Crane M2 gimbal, and I'm still not mastered the gimbal. And after a certain amount of time, I don't want to carry a gimbal. It's kind of heavy. This is lightweight, and I can stick it in my pocket. But this isn't really designed for high intensity, high vibrational type environments. This one, the GoPro as an action cam, that's what it's designed for. It has what's called hyper smooth, and the hyper smooth feature is you could be riding down a rocky road, and with this camera, or if I got it on my helmet or something, you're not really going to see a lot of the vibrations because of that circuitry and the way it's designed. It's designed to be used in those environments. Now, what you can also do on the back end is I use iMovie, and with iMovie, so I'll take the card out, load it in my MacBook, and then I'll use iMovie to manipulate it. You can turn on in iMovie when you get ready to export. You can select stabilize shaky video, and it'll take this video and stabilize it to the point where the differences may be imperceptible. But that's something to consider. So number 7, shooting at a distance. The GoPro has fixed lenses, meaning there's no way to zoom in or zoom out. When you turn this camera on, if it's in hero mode looking straight ahead, it's going to get what's straight ahead. If it's in 360 mode, it's going to get in what's in 360. And that is what it is. So as far as a distance out that it could see before it gets blurry, since I'm moving when I use it, it's kind of hard to determine how far out it can see. But the key thing to remember is that you can't adjust the lens here. So you've either got to get closer to what you're trying to film, or when you're processing it, you have to try to digitally move it in with the software. With the ZV-1 as a standard point and shoot, it's got a wide and it's got a tight, so you can bring things far and near. What I found when I filmed is after about 50 feet with this thing, it'll film up to about 100 feet, but after about 50 feet, things drop. They seem to drop from that 4K resolution down to what looks like about 720. Again, I know some of that could be addressed in the processing software in terms of how you output it, whether you use, whatever you use to edit, you could probably clear some of that up. But I'm just thinking, film, take it out, load it on the laptop, post it. Yeah, there's a lot to that. So from a battery perspective, number 8, that's something to consider. When you buy both of these cameras, you get a battery, but you also want to make sure to buy an extra battery. Let's start with the GoPro. I film a lot with GoPro in 360 mode, and what happens is at 360 mode at 5.6K, after about 40 minutes, if that, this thing starts to get warm to the touch. And when it gets warm to the touch, it'll shut off. And also, the warmer it gets, it seems like it drains the battery more. So what you can do is you can turn off, Wi-Fi and some of the other things. Just understand that when this thing gets hot, with filming at high resolution, the circuitry is going to turn off. So if you're in 100-degree temperatures and you've been walking around filming for 30 minutes, for all you know, the camera might be off. So always make sure you check that. With the Sony, what I found is, and I need to set it to where it doesn't auto shut off, but I've done filming up to about 45 minutes with it on just as a test, and there's still a lot of battery life, but it's always a good idea to, with either of these, to have a spare backup battery and have them charged, because you never know. You know, you see the commercials where people are at something significant and their battery's dead or their storage card is full. With the GoPro, I've got this this accessory that lets me charge 2 batteries at the same time, and so I always keep, as soon as I finish filming, I prop them in there, charge it up. The Sony, you plug in a USB, plug it into the wall, charges up. How long it takes to charge, I don't know. I just charge it up overnight. So number 9, some of the accessories. Some of the accessories I've bought so far for the Sony ZV-1, as I mentioned, I got this Bluetooth grip and handle as part of my bundle, and I like it a lot because it's lightweight, it's easy, and I'm not a big guy, so I can fold this down, put it in the little bag that it came with, and I can stick this in my shorts, in my short pants. And living in Southern California, I rarely ever seem to have on long pants, but this fits in the pocket of short pants, and it's fairly lightweight. So that's one accessory that I got with the bundle. This other one, the Zion Crane M2 gimbal, I like the gimbal a lot. The problem is walking around with this thing after a while, after about 45 minutes or so, you know, it becomes a forearm exercise. But those are 2 accessories that I bought specifically for this camera. I also have some tripods and everything else I've gotten. One key thing that you might want to be aware of is that it's got this screw, this threaded screw hole there, and that's helpful, because let's move to the GoPro and I'll address that. GoPro has been around for a long time, and what you see on my table are various GoPro accessories. So I've got this one that I can use for the drone mount on my helmet. I've got a selfie stick. I've got this one here that has the bottom is magnetized, and I can stick it on a magnetic surface and then put the camera there and film. I've got this little small tripod that has that little screw, and I've got this thing is pretty tough. This little jaws of life, I call it, that allows you to mount it and move it around. Now, what's helpful is with GoPro, the ecosystem of accessories is really big. So that little screw, I can take that and I can screw that here in this GoPro tripod. I can also screw in an adapter here and stick it here and mount it on something that is magnetic. I can also take it here and use the other, and I can clamp it this way and film that way, or however I want to do it. So a good hack is, even if you buy the Sony ZV-1, or if you buy any camera that has that screw, you can use these various GoPro accessories. Even if you don't have a GoPro, you can buy the accessories and then use them with this camera. Just understand that you may not, if you're out like me riding a dirt bike, you probably don't want to have a $900 camera that's bouncing around, because if you crash or something happens, you just got some expensive scrap. So last and not least, I would say intangibles, and that is by intangibles, one of those is ease of use. How easy is it to use these? I've been using GoPro now for 10 years or so I'm familiar with GoPro. I like a lot of what GoPro does. Now, one of my complaints is GoPro continually releases cameras every year. And in the case of this one, the 360, it's a great camera, but the 360 software from GoPro is horrible. It doesn't work well. So if you're familiar with digital photography and taking long clips, what you know is that after a certain amount of time, if you film for 20 minutes, you're not going to have one continuous 20-minute clip. You're going to have that clip broken down into sections called chapters. Well, that's great if you're filming in hero mode, first-person view. You can take all of those clips, load them up on your laptop, drop them in sequence, and make your movie. Great, right? But if you're using 360 clips, a 360 clip is going to chapter at about 8 minutes, and then it's going to film another one that may be 4 minutes, and then 8. And what ends up happening is the software that GoPro provides doesn't allow you to just simply connect these clips together and output them to a movie. You can't do that. To make that happen, you've got to use something like Adobe Premiere or Apple Final Cut Pro. Now, I downloaded Final Cut Pro and I downloaded Adobe Premiere, and I finally gave up. I'm not trying to be a video editor. I just a person that wants to have fun and wants to use the camera and get the most I can out of it. Leave the video editing for other people on YouTube. That's what they're doing. I'm just a person that wants to have fun. So other than that 360 piece, the GoPro is standard. It's standard. It's the standard format that it's always been, and you can drop it in iMovie or any other way, or even in their app, use their app and do it. But their app, it doesn't work on that 360 unless they fixed it in the last few months or so. That's a bad experience, and I wish they would spend more time developing their software to match the cameras. From the Sony ZV-1, it comes with something called Sony Image Capture software, whatever, but I haven't really played around with that software a lot, as much as I've just taken the card out, dropped it on my desktop, opened up iMovie, manipulate it. But from an ease of use perspective, it's fairly easy to use. You pop it open, and if you can see on the back, it's got a wheel of things, so you can see while you're filming. You can make some adjustments here. You can zoom in and out. You can do a lot of little things with it. So it works just like any other point and shoot. Now, sound from an audio perspective is something that I missed out, that I didn't cover. The GoPro has about 6 mics around it, so it's got microphones all the way around. Now, the reason why that's important is when you're doing action-based activities, you want the sound to be as immersive as the video. You want the sound to be picked up from all the different directions, especially if you're filming in 360. So the GoPro has those mics. The ZV-1 has a directional mic, and what you're looking at, I'm using the supplied windscreen with it. That windscreen, I would suggest anytime you leave the house, put that windscreen on, because that windscreen is going to make sure that it stops the wind noise, and it actually works. And the mic is really good. What I've discovered with the ZV-1 is, after you get, unless the sound is really loud, like if you're talking or someone's talking and I'm just filming something, I can pick up voices from about 40-50 feet away, which is, that's beyond what I need anyway. And I think I mentioned the temperature shut off already as an intangible. That's just something that you gotta keep in mind. And then I mentioned the editing software as another intangible that you have to keep in mind. So the summary, the net is, as I said, I'm just a person who had the disposable income to get 2 cameras. I bought the GoPro because I needed to update my GoPro, and I liked using it, and it does what I needed to do for what I need to do it for. Would I use it if I were trying to make a vlog? If I want to use it as my primary camera for vlogging, I would say no, because you can't, for the primary reason that I see is that you can't adjust the lens. So you've either got to move in closer to something, or you've got to try to manipulate it with software. Whereas on the ZV-1, the fact that you can move the lens in and out and go there makes it a whole lot easier for vlogging and the standard things that people would use that for. So to me, it's a toss-up. I'm glad that I'm able to own both. Both have their upsides. Both may have their downsides. But again, it goes back to your use case. What are you planning on using it for, and how much money do you have to spend, and let that drive your decision. So hopefully this was as valuable to you as it was just fun for me to make. As I said, I'm not a professional videographer, just a person that likes to have fun and looks to try to share his hobbies and things that I do in the world with others. So if that's been of any value, feel free to click like or subscribe. You never know what I'm going to post. Like I said, no professional, just a person having fun. So good luck with whatever decision you make, and feel free to leave a comment if you like. Thanks again. Bye.